truly one of the world's best beverages, freshly squeezed sugarcane juice. One of my favorite things in Singapore to drink. And they've got it here, and man, I had it in Alexandria. It is delicious. Just pure sugarcane water. I really wish they would do this at home. So I have to keep telling my driver to kind of slow things down. It's like, come on, let's do this today, and this today, and this today, and this today. And it's just like, one, I'm on vacation. I'm not trying to kill myself. Climbing in and out of the tombs yesterday, it's not, insignificant work. If you've done Stairmaster or ride a bike for a few weeks before you come here, it's probably a little bit easier. If you haven't done any real exercise since before COVID, like me, then it's gonna put a lot of pressure on your bones and muscles. So yeah, if you want to enjoy it, I think you should really spread it out. And they will really try to convince you to see every single pyramid in one day, and it's just way too much, way too fast. Even the small pyramids going in and out of the chambers, I mean, it takes work, and walking around them. So he wants to take me to the Great Pyramids, and it's like a 17-kilometer complex. So I want to be nice and ready for that. So next we're going to the museum. Allegedly, it's open. From what I heard, it was not. So we'll see what happens. And I think that's a good next stop because I can learn something. And I haven't been to a legitimate museum here yet. And that's always one of my favorite things to do. So, and if he's trying to rush all of these things so much, maybe we shouldn't make unplanned stops every 3 miles. I mean, this guy's like stops every 3 miles to buy more food. But, it's cheap. Delicious. Delicious. Alright, so yet again, one more unplanned stop. I think we're picking up somebody else. I have no idea what happens when we stop like this. And then the guy's like, rushing, let's do all these things. But man, you've made like 6 stops that I have no idea what you're doing. So again, on the traffic/accidents situation, accidents do happen. Just saw a dead dog on the side of the road, bleeding. Just saw a still alive motorcyclist in the road, bleeding. It's like nobody seems to care. It's like, do you realize the reason why this is happening is because you're driving like it's bumper cars? And he's not even wearing a seatbelt. So, like COVID is the least of these people's concerns, just crossing the street. He almost hit 3 people just a second ago. Really crazy. Just try to minimize your time in a car just to take the subway or something. It's really ridiculous. On the way into the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization, because as I suspected, the Grand Egyptian Museum is not open yet. They've been building it for, like 20 years. They claim to want to have it open for King Tut's 100th anniversary of discovery, which was a few days ago, but they didn't make it. If you recall, a few years ago, they had a big event in Cairo where they were driving mummies through the street. It was like this crazy thing. That was them transferring most of the mummies from the old Egyptian Museum, which is across the street from my hotel, to the new Grand Egyptian Museum, which is not open. So they're all over there, and no way to see them. So this is sort of the backup museum. I understand there are a lot of mummies here anyway. And I think it's a good thing to go to museums when you're in that kind of environment. There's always some stuff that you learn. So maybe they will tell us more about how sound has lifted rocks. That was really a new one. I can't believe how ridiculous some people can be. What a beautiful view of the Nile and the city from this museum. Actually, I think this is a lake. But you can see this massive cliff face here. This is the cut bank of the Nile. So as the Nile would flood, it would flood up to the base of that cliff and slowly erode it away with each flood cycle. The same thing is on the western side of the Nile, and that's where all of the pyramids are set atop of. Just an enormous cut bank. I mean, it's enormous. It's a great timeline of Egyptian history running from 5,500 BC down to the present. And out of all of this, you just have that one sliver right there for a couple hundred years where there was pyramid building. Just that little sliver. Now, this is really a beautiful museum. I mean, even if you're not into it, I think it's worth just poking your head in here and taking a look. It's like $9 to get in, so really worth it, especially in the afternoon if it's really hot. This is nice and cool, and you can just kind of chill out in here. This is obviously the magic carpet from Aladdin, so you're not allowed to step on it because it will fly. And this is obviously the lamp that if you rub, the genie comes out of. So they've got everything here from Aladdin. It's a very small person. I'm not sure if that person clears 5 feet tall. Looks about 4'11" to me.
Because they had a lot of gold in the ancient times, but not wood at all.
She's a little taller. She's about 5'6". They were certainly slender people to fit in a coffin like that.
Have an afterlife, you have to take everything you used in your life to be buried in the tomb to use it in the afterlife.
What is this a mummy of? Is this a mummy?
No, it's just a replica.
Ah.
Of course it's a replica.
Did they have a mummy in a case that small?
No.
This is just.
No.
What was this for? I'm not getting any answers. It's a chariot.
تجينا من هني ها تجينا من هني
خبأ دخل جدران قلعة رومانية تضم معبد
الإله شربيش وإيزيس وحرمقراط
كمية السياح
واحد وسبعين
كمية السياح
So that was an okay museum. Not terribly informative, and the collections were a little bit random. But the mummies were very cool. I couldn't film the mummy room, unfortunately, and there were lots of people there guarding, touching and filming, so it was impossible to do. It was very dark, so it may not have come out very well anyway. But yeah, I mean, they had like every king you could imagine, all of the Ramses. King Tut, like I was mentioning earlier, is not there. Hatshepsut is there. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool to just sort of stare Ramses the Great in the face, and the faces are amazing. I mean, it's like you're looking. They look almost alive. Braided hair. You can see the hair on Ramses the Great and his bald spot. All the wrinkles on some of them. They're very small people. Most of them did not clear 5 feet. I'm going to guess that's the issue with the wheat. You know, there's a fungus that grows in grain and wheat, and it could cause you to, you know, not be as tall as you should be. Anyway, I'm going to be back in the cab now.